Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to Chat today. I'm Kevin, and today we're back to our first World War today. Our topic today is about African action. So, on this topic, we are going to talk about the action that Africa joined into the First World War. So, in 1914, most of Africa was most part of the Africa became the part of European colonies. And of course, because the First World War spread really quick, so after the 1914, the First World War quickly spread to this place too. So over 2 million Africans served in the conflict, making great sacrifice for purely European cause. From the outset, the Allies first aimed to capture Germany African port and wireless radio station so that they could prevent them to get more ammunition, more troops, and also more supplies. But of course, they tried to make a plan and quickly gain control of Togoland and the coast of Cameroon. But this is just the easy before the big wave come. The big wave come. Just an easy part before everything start to be difficult. A throughout campaign. So on the southern West Africa, the Africans tried to attack. The Union of South Africa was part of the British Empire to join the Allies, but not without a struggle. The countries were divided between British and Dutch. So the countries tried to, it was once until it's being divided into two parts, which one is belong to British and one belong to Dutch. So who had fought a bitter war, Dutch settlers who has fought a bitter war in 1899, and of course ending in a British victory. The wounds of the defeat was still raw in the memories of many South African Boers, or you could say settlers. At the start of the war, the South African President Louis Botha sent troops to invade German Southwest Africa, and many brothers in the army refused to take part in this action and asked the Germans to help them retake South Africa. But the Germans couldn't spare or help with any troops because right now they are still in an extremely dangerous fight with British and cannot protect their own colonies, so there's no way of sparing troops for the others. And of course, Botha was Minister General Jan Smuts soon put down the Boer rebellion, and by early 1915 he had forced the Germany to surrender and give the Southwest Africa to them. So, on the other hand, in German East Africa, the British floundered when they came up against the talents of the charismatic German commander, Colonel Paul von Lettow-Vorbeck. Around 8,000 troops were shipped from India to try to seize the colony. In November 1914, they landed near Tanga and a German port north of Dar es Salaam. On the march through the dense jungle to Tanga, on the way through the dense jungle to Tanga, the Indians were ambushed by von Lettow-Vorbeck's troops. His men were outnumbered, but he's very talented. His team is just outnumbered from 8 to 1, but the Indians just had no training in burst warfare and were easily overcome. Things just got ugly when the fighting rose swarms of angry beasts, forcing both sides to retreat. After that, it became known as the Battles of the Beasts. And of course, with an outnumbered amount of soldiers, but still had no defeat and could keep the enemies outside of Germany, Colonel von Lettow-Vorbeck had become a legend between the Allies and the enemy side. After the Battle of the Beasts, he invited British commanders to his lodging to compare notes over a bottle of brandy. He also arranged for the wounded Indian soldiers to try and follow his medics. Without radio or naval links to Germany, von Lettow-Vorbeck's men or soldiers become self-sufficient, So for some of you guys who don't know, this team didn't get any radio or any wireless thing. Yeah, they are just going to work by themselves, or maybe if they are in a team, so they teamwork together. But if they separate and they spread out from numbers, I mean smaller groups, so they will work for themselves. And because of that way of training, von Little Verbeek, von Little Verbeek soldiers has trained their own self to become independent and self-sufficient. So that means they could growing their own food, living their own life even when they are left in the jungle with nothing. And also when they are out of armor, they can use the knife and they could make some assassinations to steal ammunition from the enemies and keep fighting until they die. So for the rest of the world, they used guerrilla tactics to play cat and mouse with the allies. They lured them even deeper into the East Africa. But of course, they try to avoid the combat as much as possible. So they are just trying to play as assassins, as I said. They lured them, okay? They lured them and forced them to go deeper into Africa, but not by, let's say, direct combat, but by assassinations and by making threat in the jungles. So that means the Allied side will have fears and they are going to being lured deeper into the East Africa. And of course, with his, let's say, specialist way of training his soldiers and a great way of independent fight among the soldiers, so that they could fight for themselves, they could fight for their groups, they could teamwork. But when they separate out, they could also fight for their own self. Von Little Verbeek has become a legend that throughout his whole life he's never gained a defeat from the Allies. And of course, he is one of the commanders who has been lived through the First World War. Okay? And many Africans who volunteered for the army were taken on to work as bolster. Africa has few rows of trains line, so equipment, supplies, and even officers were all hauled across the continent of man packs. Bolsters were given smaller rations than soldiers, and thousands died of malnutrition, exhaustion, and disease. Hundreds of thousands of African civilians are estimated to have starved during the war, when harvests failed because of the farmers had been marched of war. So this is what become when the African take action into the First World War. And of course, this topic is a little bit complicated even for me. There are so many things to remember and also so many information. So please forgive me if I look into my notes paper too much and not making you guys feel interesting about this topic today. But yeah, I'll try to take more time to searching for my own topic and make it become better next time. But yeah, today is pretty late at my time, and also yeah, I'm a little bit unfocused on this topic. As let's say that because I've just have been a very hard training of physical. Yeah, I just got home and I made this topic, so maybe I don't feel well enough to stay positive and going to, let's say, grab all the information into my head and talk naturally with you guys. So I hope this thing will work better next time. But yeah, hope you guys a nice weekend, and this is the end of our video today. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.